Again, I'm still here on the project, building capacity around my mouth, but I got something to back it up. What do you think? Let's discuss it. This is Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. But I want to bring your attention to a show that I'm going to be having tonight. It's going to be very interesting. I'm encouraging all of you, those of you that are listening to this video, to tune in tonight, because perhaps this might be some of the reason why we have all of the mess that is going on in our own country. Because you have to listen to these things. These things, the trouble we've been having in Liberia didn't start overnight. These are things that's been happening from time to time. There are those who came before us, past generation, failed to recognize these things, and will continue to repeat them, and because we ourselves have not yet able to recognize and see if these things can be rectified, so that this country, beautiful country of ours, can be built just by our hands as Liberian. Doesn't matter who you are at this point. Concord country, it doesn't even exist anymore. We're all one another. We're all one country, one people. But if we do not understand why these things are happening to us, we're most likely not going to be able to find solution. So I ask you tonight to join me.
Yet, how does one begin to help people who swim on their own flooded streets to voting booths to vote incompetent criminals back into office?
Yes, that is a big question we all have to answer. How do you help people who will go to the voting booth swimming in their own flooded streets just to vote people in offices who are incompetent? And those incompetent people that are being voted in offices will also appoint people who are also incompetent. So this is like a big deal. How do we help our brothers and sisters to make sure that their voting rights are utilized effectively? They have the voting cards. They must be told how important their voting cards are to all of us. And so I'm saying those of us that have this platform, this is not time for hate. You don't come into this because you hate. You must do all you can to educate the voters themselves, how important their voting cards are. Because of their vote, our leaders be able to do what is right for our people. Join me this evening as I try to explore this particular question and many more that will be coming. Join me this evening at 8 Eastern Time, 5 Pacific, where we will take on this question and be able to see how much we can go. With your help, we, the Liberian people, will be able to educate our brothers and sisters that have the right to vote whoever they want, but they must do so with responsibility. This is Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. Thank you very much.
C'est autissement, encore une autre fidèle qui l'Amérique a pas bloqué nous. Quand il reste Sylvie, il a quoi qui j'ai loupé presse. L'Amérique a pas bloqué, t'as mon bien de moi avec moi, nous en somme à plus. On va battre au moins, n'est où. Mon temps dit, t'as mon mounier, on s'est battu pour moi, il pleure. Tout là, l'occasion.
Doing anything that people get amended, and with me from 2005 to date, we're all doing anything. I've done something. Trust me, I'll be re-elected. You understand? So you don't need to fight. You don't need to destroy your country. You don't need to even condemn your country. You have to be inspired, peacefully, and then convince the people, persuade people. Politics is about persuasion, and it's about what you have done for your people. I have done so much that I don't need pay for. You know why I don't need pay for? Because Liberians love me and they promoted me when I was on a soccer page. You understand? And they were proud to be Liberian when I was on the soccer page. And I've done my best for my country. I'm a former peace ambassador. It doesn't matter what people say. I'm on record.
Yao, abela lokeyo, mivito jobai, mivito inamba, matis mokeyo. Manager Gigi, ouais que jamais forcé ou, si tu connais, tu connais. L'animateur Choco Noska Yassen de Toyebi, l'homme a tout fait pour mivito, Aniche les vieux.
Henry, I can tell you the problem of this country with respect to prices, with respect to health, with respect to education, and largely tied to roads. There are no roads. You don't see opportunities where they should be when you don't have roads. From up to 173 years, we only have one road. How do you know what is happening in Bapolu when you don't have road? You don't go there. The prices of goods, commodities on the market are high because to get them to where they are needed. So there's no way you can, when I talk about road, I'm not talking about putting road on the sidewalk in Monrovia, $50,000 road and make it $3 million. We're talking about roads that will open up the country. We're talking about roads that will open up opportunities, roads that will get businesses going, and dependency reduced because people believe their goods and commodities can get to the market. That's what we're talking about.
But we will prosecute and will confiscate assets that people steal and acquire by illicit means. I often say that in Liberia, when people get caught, they send their wife, they send their children, they send their relatives, whatever, to come and beg. I'm saying the Liberian people, don't come and beg. You know, don't come and tell me, oh, stand to help you get elected. He talk nice about you on the radio station. Now he's stealing, so forgive him. Stanley should have known when he was stealing that we're going to punish him. So there's going to be consequences. That's the first thing. Then we have to make sure we're paying people a living wage. So we did the arithmetic, we did the math in 2017 that when you look at policeman's salary or healthcare worker's salary or teacher's salary, by the middle of the month, the money finished. By the time they pay rent, they buy food, they pay the children tuition, and of course, they're not going to starve, right? So the policeman will pull you over, the teacher will accept bribe, they change grades.
Good evening, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again tonight for a wonderful time this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you. Thank God. Safety, Lord Jesus. We want to thank you again for bringing us together here. Lord, because of you, we are here, and we ask you to continue to bless and protect us. My Lord, as we come before you again tonight, we put Liberia, the country of Liberia, Republic of Liberia, in your hands. We put the leaders of Liberia in your hands. We put the political leaders, opposition political leaders of Liberia in your hands. We ask you to bless them. We ask you to give them wisdom to do what is good for our country. My Lord, we ask you to open your eyes and open the eyes of the Liberians. Open your minds to understand that election is not war. It is about ideas. My Lord, we ask you to guide us. As Liberia is about ready to go for election, the only thing we can do is come before you, bow ourselves, submit ourselves to you, and ask that you bless the country and protect the country of the Republic of Liberia. As she's about ready to go through the election, help us all, protect us all. My Lord, we ask you to bless the host country of the United States of America. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right, folks, let's get it going here. So tonight program is going to be a different one here. I'm going to put up the number here. I'd like to hear from you, but before I do that, let me make sure I set it up first. Let me make sure I have the whole thing set up. I'm going to have people put a number up. Let's have a conversation here tonight. Let's have a conversation. What do you think? How do you think this election going to end up? And what are some of the things what kinds of suggestions you have for your own political leaders and your political parties? What are some of the things they're doing that you like, and what are some of the things they're doing that you don't like? I'm not saying what other political party that you're not affiliated with to come and explain what they need to do and that's not what I'm saying. Your affiliation with a political party, and I want you to speak to that. How you think this political party that you love, or political leaders that you love, or people who are you supporting, how, from your own mind and your own perspective, how are these people moving forward, and what do you think they need to do to move to the level that you want them to move to? So let me connect, and now we're going to have a serious conversation about that here tonight. Tonight, the liberal is not going to be all the way around his mouth. As usual, not that I'm not able to do that. I can sit here for 2 hours and run my mouth straight. You know it. You know that I'm capable of doing that. But that is not about me. So let's put the number up and let's start the conversation. For me, my whoever that I admire Ambassador Bakai, and I would like to see them to do certain things, but that is not my take here tonight. Tonight, I just want something good for Liberia. So whoever is going to be in the seat that they must be offered something good for the country. Take us from one point to another. Please, please. Give me a call here, 916-533-2048. Let's start a conversation. But please, if you call, I can only have 3-4 people on the line at the same time. And if you call and I'm not able to pick up your call, it doesn't mean that I'm ignoring you. It just means there's no space. But please give me a call here, 916-533-2048. So like I said, I'm going to be waiting for your call. But in the meantime, I got to talk. Yeah, you know me. I like to talk, and talking is what I do. But I'm not about ready to put my foot in my mouth here tonight. I'm not going to do that. I'm not about ready to eat a lot of crow here tonight. I'm not going to do that. I'll just go through the newspaper. Let's start with Front Page Africa, and I'll just pick up some story that I like, and you can do the same thing. I'd like to discuss a little bit about the Liberia food insecurity. Liberia food insecurity. When I was growing up in Monrovia, Lofa counties always been known. Lofa and Bond have always produced food for us. These people, they work hard and they know how to work. They are not bluffer boys. They are not bluffer girls. And when I was growing up, many of the kids that was at LU, their moms were working, selling in the baker market, where my mom was too, of course, selling in the baker market. And the kids were going to school. And many of the kids, just like me, after she's done selling at the baker market, just like my mom, she's come we were living at the barracks, but of course. So when she get out from the baker market, whatever little money she made in selling, she buy some dry fish, dry meat, whatever it is, come and make dipa for the folks, the army folks, to come in and eat. She charges 25 cents a bowl. And so what she has is a piece of paper where when you come, you don't have the money, the food is there, the dipa is there, the kobo is there. You know, she'll let you have it. But when you come in and you don't have the money, did I invite you? I'm not
hearing you.
Did I invite you?
I am not hearing you. Okay. Just hold on.
I invite you.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Don't worry.
Jesus.
Oh, Lord. This guy.
I tell you.
He ready with his total witch again.
I'm in Kaiwell. But anyway, let me go on, folks. So Mama will go, and then after that, people come in, and the army people will come and buy the dipa 25 cents. You put your name on the paper, and then you at the end of the day, Willie Knockers, I think he's dead now, used to be the paymaster at the time. So my mom will go and submit her, give the paper, and they call your name. You say they will not go ask you, did you credit Doma or Deepa from the woman? You say yes. Okay, take the 25 cents from your pay, give it to her. Let me
interrupt you a little bit.
The what?
Tonight, I am happy that you are seeking public redemption. Tonight.
For what?
Tonight, I am happy that you are willing to accommodate Liberian views. Tonight, I am happy that you dash down all the tabata. Tonight, I am happy.
You're telling me now, and you're listening. You see the man came in, why he joined into my show? He came in, now he telling me, say, he happy that I'm coming to redeem myself. You see, yeah. I don't say anything,
You literally talk a political baptism here this evening, and I'm happy to do that. But what I'm not happy about, to tell people not to express their views and opinion about other parties, which of course these parties are seeking political offices. And this is what you always do. You want to restrict people. You claim to be a liberal. That's not a liberal idea. You're far from being a liberal. Your liberalism is just on the surface, is faking. It's a deceit.
So what you here on my show for? You here to make play with me, or you here to take me to the clinic tonight? What you here for? Tell the audience, let it people know. We got
Above
over
all,
227 people watching you. Where you want from the liberal tonight?
Yeah, this is where you put your eyes always to see who watching, who not watching, and who
Where
is
you
for
want
you.
from the liberal tonight, my people?
What I want from this institution to start being to liberalize, for people to have your will to be done. And this is why you're telling people, if you call, don't say this, don't say this. What are you talking about?
They conservative idea.
You got away with it
So
yesterday. You got away. Hold on 1 second. I know it's your show. If you want to throw me out, you can do it. You would just show your own whatever to the public. You want to throw me out, I'm not going to beg for it. You start it yesterday, the paper say, the paper say, the paper say, and carry on, and carry
because
on, and carry on.
on CDC last night. That why
No, that's not about it.
That's why you coming out to campaign by for CDC, because your window cutter and your eye number 9, then they were so scared yesterday they couldn't come out to say anything. Now you and them being finished having a conversation behind my back. Now you
what
coming
I don't like,
now
what I don't like is for people to limit people expression, and that's exactly, you always like to have two faces of your side. Oh, I will allow you to participate, but when you call, don't say this. Why will you tell people? Why will you restrict people?
Here we go again tonight. I run my show the way I want to run my show. How many times can I tell you that one?
Not when we hear. When you
alone, even you hear, I run my show. I'm in control. Total control.
You're in control, but I will expose your biasness, your divisive politics, and you continue to play.
They're gonna trouble. See, that why I come from way from total here, for Mr. So to tell me that my liberal ideas are not good for the country, that his conservative ideas are the one that good. I'm inviting people to call in. I say, when you call in, what party you for? Talk about your party.
Why will you tell people to talk about their party? That's not your job.
Well, I'm not here for job. I'm not here for kumbaya. I'm not here to come run show the way you wanted to run.
Wear your Tanchi or African clothes tonight. You think we honor the Palava tree? It's too much. How many days to election? And you're still not telling the Liberian people exactly. You're not even telling Liberian people exactly. What?
What? Yeah. They men let flower business. Oh, my goodness. And that one you want job, we have to appoint you to be security chief or information minister. We're finished. Another LPR said we need to change the LPR neo because Mr. Emma George, the way he had temper like that, and he want to come in to make him police director, and you on the other hand, the way you like that. You want job, we are making minister of information. And says Goya, my goodness. Says Goya, so smart.
What do you want?
So both people. But he can't take president. Then he want Councillor Gonglo to make him minister of education. He will throw people out. And you heard, what's his name? Male last night. He bring him back to pepper people and put pepper in people's eyes and things and flog them. My goodness!
So tell us, you support Boyka. Tell us where you want Boyka to put you in.
I don't want anything from them.
You don't want anything?
No.
You don't know them. They don't know you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe they will make you the mayor of Town. Probably. Then that's the only place you can be a commentator because
since you're here, let me ask you a few questions. Serious question.
Go ahead.
This election, you've been on the sideline, you've been on the fence ever since. You're not CDC, you're ready for CDC, like to say you don't know them. You're ready for Kumi then, like they said, you don't know them. You're ready for Baga. You're just on the sideline, you're not with anybody. That's fine. But here's the thing here.
You know tonight now with anybody.
Let me finish my statement. Here's the thing here. Ambassador Baka win, we're not going to get you a job. Gonglo win, they're not going to get you a job. President win, they're not going to get you a job. So you better start picking side. Or else you're not going to get a job when any people win. They don't want independent people that running around. You call yourself independent media. That's not why. But let me ask you a question. Now that we are established here tonight, that you seem to be on the side, independent, conservative, independent. Let me ask you this. What do you see? How do you see this? I know the election is not quite on board yet, but on a very serious note, who do you think is making the headway here among all of the participants?
Who are the participants?
Ambassador Bakar,
let's square it down.
Ambassador Bakar, President Weah, Councillor Gonglo, Honorable Cummings, and the rest.
So what's the question?
Oh, I forgot. There's a lady in there's a lady in Grand United County that's seeking to be represented in Grand United County. Marie Johnson.
So why?
No, but hold on. Marie Johnson. But the people in Kunabo District, the young people in Kunabo District, they said that she got U.S. passport and therefore they don't want her to participate. But the question I'm asking, who you think making headway? Anybody enter? I don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
Of course.
Dr. Sawyer.
Yeah. No, my man, who running that show? Is that me or that you? You come in, man. Yeah. What? Mali, good evening. Mali, I running the show. Good evening, Mali.
So, what are you talking about?
I'm running the show.
Yeah, but who said you're not running the show? What's going on?
Mr. So has hijacked my program.
Well,
this is sort of Mali. This is a sort of entitlement syndrome they always find themselves in. I'm running the show. And this is why the country it is why these are the people get us to be where we are today.
I ask you a question.
Who are you in a race?
I ask you a question. You answer. Yeah. The question is who's making a headway here among all of the on a very serious note from your own political intuition, political experience as a media person, being in the media business forever?
So, yeah, is my view, and that's my view. Talking about who making the headway, I don't know what specifically you're talking about. It is unfortunate that we don't have a data. People create some sort of data to say, oh, if election were here today, this person going to win, this person is going to win. I'm waiting to see that. All of the campaigns, if you ask them, they will take a definitive position. We will win it. This is where we are. But when we look at, or when I see what is happening across Liberia, or what is going on right now, in my view and in my sense, there seems to be a level of momentum on the ruling establishment. And part of that is they are taking a real survey. And if you were to compare them, even though it's a challenge, would be Councillor Gonglo. He has been able, he's one of the persons successfully, and he did something extraordinary today. That kind of drives my motive to be the guy that people can trust. This is a guy who is in the perfect position to reconcile Liberians, regardless of your political tie. Affiliation. Over 300 some more towns and villages, cities, this guy, he has gone in. Why? He wants to know what is happening with Liberia. He doesn't want to be told when he's elected president, this is what's going on in Nima, this is what's going on in Grandida, this is what's going on in Basso or Kema. This is why he's taking tour. Unlike other folks like some of you guys support, they're all here having nice and fine time, and they profess as if they are in hands or in control. So I would say, George, this ruling establishment is in a better position. And if I were to give another person, because of his work and things that he's doing, with respect to convince the voters, but whether the voters will also have the ability to understand him, because I know, you know, our politics more or less is about name recognition, this sort of popularity. You call somebody name, they draw a conclusion, oh, this is what I want. But I'm telling you, Tiawan Gonglo, from all indications, he's a factor. He exhibited that high political maturity today. When I saw that image going on the compound of the ruling establishment, And then when he used the word munya munya, he was not actually campaigning for CDC. What he was telling to the young voters, the young people who are going to be an ultimate decider, look, there is life after death. There will be Liberia after this October 10th elections. And there's a need that we should reconcile. We should understand what are we all in this, we are in it for better Liberia. And so he laid the roadmap today for fair, for a peaceful election. And I think that really hit my core belly button today. And he said, I'm going to see, he promised to go around other campaigns, but I think that was significant. I haven't seen that. He surrendered himself to the plight of Liberia. So he removed himself from in the picture, not much about him, but all he requests is to see a better Liberia. And I hope other people will do the same, because they are the one have controls over their supporters. And we should stop this election will be rigged, election will be rigged. You didn't hear him talking about that. Is or what you're going to say, we will be here after election and we are not enemy.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, that's a wonderful statement about Councillor Gonglo. We all know that. But coming from you, it means a lot. Thank you. That's all I can say on that. Mother, let me ask you here. I left from this show last night and I couldn't sleep well as a liberal. The language that was expressed here last night by you, and someone, in fact, I will say when I left from here, I started using word Belinda detector more than that. I think you have gone past that. You're telling me, you said here last night, the idea of bringing back not just capital punishment, but if anybody having to do anything that is wrong or something that person should be punished severely so they will not repeat that. Yeah, bringing back some old memory of those of us that live in the countryside. Do you still believe that? Or perhaps the day have, well, perhaps the night washed that ideas away, and now that perhaps you have some sort of a cooler with the liberals, so maybe the liberal idea have fresh taken over, or do you still believe those ideas that you spotted last night?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Toll. I strongly hold our ground, and I strongly believe that the issue that are affecting Liberia right now, they are very systemic. They are very, very systemic. No matter who take over Liberia, it will be the incumbent, it will be the ambassador, Boakai, it will be the Gongolo. There are systemic issues in the country right now. And when we use the word systemic, these are things that are very old to the bone. And just the normal approach to democracy, to put this thing under control, trust me, it's not going to work. If we want Liberia to take another turn, it will not work. We have seen it in other countries, and this is what happening in Liberia.
So you care to repeat? You care to repeat specific words that were used last night?
Yes.
You care to repeat those again tonight?
Yes, and I stand by them. I said there is a need. I even qualify. I'm going to qualify it today. There's a need for us to have what I term, after my research, a democratic radical reform system. A system that is necessary to deal with a systemic, chronic political activity in Liberia. A system that will be needed in the absence of compromises. I term it as hard power, not soft power. A system that will need.
Give us an example. Give us an example.
I come in now, a system that will need iron hand with a bit of democracy to get things under control. For example, if we're rather serious about transforming our country, let's start with the garbage. Let's go to the garbage first. All right. First of all, the reinstitution of Bele Yala will be one of the reform in that system. 2, the overhauling of the judicial system. All the judges or half of the judges will be retired. I'm bringing in a fresh blood. All right. The security system will be
those people that you're
overhauled.
going to be bringing in. I'm saying now, I'm thinking they will have a like-minded like you to establish better Yala.
No. Listen to me. This system.
Let me push a little bit. The better Yala you made reference to, is that going to be the same type of better Yala that we saw back in the days, or is it going to be a little bit refined?
It's not una Bella Yala. All right. We are going to institute additional pressing camp. In addition to Bella Yala, we need 2 maximum pressing camp. In addition to Bella Yala.
Do you still believe that if my mom was involved in any kind of political crocodile business, I should throw my mom in jail?
Okay, let's come to that. I brought that fact in. I said if Mr. Toll was my best friend and we went to school together, after educating the people about not trashing Liberia, and for instance, my friend Mr. Toll's mother decided to throw trash on the street, and she was caught. She's going to be processed, and it's going to be from 6 to 1 year, and she will go to jail.
My man, I think our friend Avenue.
No. We are setting. You see, this is where Liberia is not going to go nowhere under any government. The enforcement of policy in Liberia to the bone is not working. And as long as it will not work, and as long as it's not working, nothing going to move.
Okay, before I go back to Mr. So, let me just call name specific activities and tell me quickly what type of punishment perhaps you might be. Man, come here. I was still going to show. I was going to throw you question. What are you coming on now? I'm going to throw you question. Let me bring in Mr. Sisi Goya. I'm going to throw you question. What are you coming on now? But let me ask you this.
I make it easier for you. Still making plow.
Thank you. Let me ask you, Malice. I will call activity. And you tell me what, Mr. So.
I'm not talking. Wow.
Mr. So. Mr. So. The Liberal is running the show here tonight. Please let me run my show. So Male, thief, somebody stealing. What kind of punishment? Quick, please. Male, thief.
We are going to process you, and if you found guilty for stealing, you will go to jail for 6 months.
Rapist. What are you gonna have for that?
Okay, very good. You see the rapist?
Quick.
No, come in now. I want to make a shot for you. The rapist, the murderer, and the drugs pusher, I will award them with capital punishment.
Ooh, okay. Corruption. Government official corrupt. Got caught.
Whoa. That's a long jail sentences. 25 to 30 years. You will go to jail.
Okay.
Yes,
right,
and your property, if you can't pay the money, your property will be confiscated until we get the money. Yes. And you will go to long jail sentence.
Thank you. Sisi, thank you for joining us. Let me go back to Mr. So, then I'll come to you, Sisi, please. Mr.
I'm going to get a. Yeah, go to Sisi. Let me get a glass of water here because I'm hearing last year this evening.
You conservative, me conservative, going drink water.
Iron here, life imprisonment, 30 years, 50 years.
Sisi, I know Mr. So was talking about Councillor Ganglia, and the first thing that was running through my mind is that I was going to say I don't see Sisi supporting somebody other than that kinds of character. So, but let me ask you this: we're talking about, because Mali and I were on here last night, and he made some statement here about being tough radically changing the country mindset. And his language were very tough. But I was wondering, are those kinds of toughness, is that what any government would need to move that country from one point to another?
Hello, everybody. First thing first, did I hear my brother, Mr. Mali, say after his research, he came up with democratic, radical, whatever? How do you have democratic and radical in the same sentence on a topic? I'm confused. And the other thing is, does Mr. Mali believe that there are not laws on the books in Liberia already that he's trying to come up with draconian punishment for crimes? There are already laws on the books. There are punishment assigned to those crimes in Liberia. There's punishment assigned to rape. There's punishment assigned to drug dealing. There's already punishment assigned to theft of public property, which is corruption. So I don't know where he comes from with this new thing and bringing back the inhumane capital punishment. When in fact, in most advanced countries like ours, right now in America, you find out that there are people who the system have adjudged them as guilty, and 20 years down the line, it gets proven that that was a false positive. So in engineering, and Mr. So, you know, Mr. To, you know this, when you do a truth table, you do true, false, there are false positives you get out sometimes.
Yes.
So if you go ahead executing people, when you find out that you have just executed an innocent person, how do you fix that? So we have to walk away. There is no more time in Africa or anywhere for this strong man leadership. When you come and you do the one put you on firing squad, you do the one we kill you. You can be tough on crime without being draconian and without being extrajudicial. So I do believe that the laws, we have enough laws on the books in Liberia, and it takes a spined politician, a spined leader to ensure that those laws are enforced without fear and without favor. And I think that's one of the things Mr. Mali was talking about when he said, for example, if somebody, you know, a friend does something, and you say your mom, you say she should go to jail. He's making a point about justice has to be truly blind. And if justice is truly blind, then the enforcement of penalties have to also be blind. You cannot have a system where there are some murders that happen and investigation gets stalled, and then all of a sudden Gloria Mususka stuff come up, and that is fast-tracked, right? You cannot have cases that get fast-tracked over others simply because some people have money and others don't. Then I think that is the kind of justice system that my brother Mali is against, and I will stand with him on that. My only question is, I differ with him on the issue of bringing back capital punishment and capital crime, because we all understand it's been proven in developed countries that there are times where the system gives you false positives, and when you execute somebody, there's no way to come back and fix that.
Thank you. I want to welcome President Anthony Kesari. President, good evening. Thank you for staying with us. We appreciate it. But let me go to Mr. So. Mr. So, I think you already gave us
Mr. To, I got to push back to Mr. Sisi.
but we'll come to you. We'll come to you.
I think you got much pushback to do, so maybe I just want to add another
Yes,
layer.
we have much pushback to do. That's true.
Okay, just hold your peace, Mr. So. So you heard Brother Mali here giving us some strong medicine of how to fix Liberia. You also, Mr. So, you're not stranger to leadership. You're not stranger ever since you were little. You've been in leadership. You have seen leaders.
You don't have to praise me. Go to your
So you're not going to tell me how I ask my question. You're not going to tell me how to run my show.
You
play with me. You play with me. I'll pack you in the bag.
You will just show yourself to the public.
Okay, well, I don't want to. So please let me ask my question the way I want to ask. And you're gonna tell me how to run my show. But anyhow, but that's what you're here for. You're here to make plot tonight. You're not here for a show. That's where you that the CDC send you because they know last night I showed that they put their foot in your mouth, so they send you tonight to try to derail my show. Because you know what happened? As soon as they hijacked my show last night, he called me right away. You're not going to. He started singing. You're not going to come on tonight.
Mr. To, we need to focus on the bigger picture.
Malice. I know what I'm doing. I got it under control. I'll come to you. Just keep writing your stuff, and we'll come to you. This is how we do it. We put fun in it, and this is not all what you might call. So just keep focused. But anyhow, Mr. So, let me ask you again. You've been around leaders and tough leaders and everything else, you yourself. What Mali is saying, which one you think you would take to the bank and which one you will have issue with?
Those sound bites coming out of Mali's here, they must be killed prematurely. And I think, Sissy, because Mali is trying to tell us for us to introduce the days of Idi Amin, where nobody can raise their finger and say something. As a matter of fact, there are laws on the book. You can be tough, but his language that he's using is scaring. And that even if he doesn't take time, if he's a president, you are calling literally for people to rise against you and overthrow you. But we have laws on the book. Indeed, those laws will be enforced. The enforcement aspect of the laws is something. And this is where I see people, and I was making the comment with Councilor Gonglo. Yeah, this is where I see. But for us coming back with capital punishment, I mean, it has not worked in modern society. So what is the point of doing that? But indeed, the laws that are on the book, we can revisit them, we can look at them, we can see where the fault, we can have good law enforcers, we can have good attorney general or police commissioners, and who will be able to build this police and community relationship. Who would not be a police commissioner, who would not be a minister of justice just to be a servant to the presidential because is a presidential appointee. No, but he is the first law enforcer in the country. So he or she is there for the community and safety of the state. So those are the kind of people that we need to look at who going to get a relationship. Because mind you, even in this country here, everything is not perfect, but you can see the community relationship. People must be able to confide in the law enforcement system, where even when crime is committed, there's no way in America, there's no way you can have police everywhere. But people must be able to trust the police, where they can give police tips, they can give police information when there's a bad person in that community or somebody did something bad and is on the run. Based on the police or the security apparatus relationship with the society, trust me, it will make the work easier, because when the person in that corner, they will call, say, hey, guess what? This person who did XYZ in Synco is being harbored by somebody here in Ghanansville. But what Mali is telling us here this evening, I don't know. I don't know where he came from. It looked like Congo said we're not even accommodating again, and even Alice coming where perhaps he was thinking to go, he would be scared away. But he said he wants to push back.
So let me bring you in here, but pushing back, just keep your note to yourself. Let me ask you this question. We have Sissy here tonight, of course. Last night, you also brought in some wonderful idea. Caller, we will come to you here very shortly. Let me make a round. Caller will come to you. Please hold your peace, please, if you don't mind. But Mali, last night, you brought in some idea of the WIAC, how the WIAC process in Liberia, which is the West African Examination Council test, that it was not helping the students of the Republic of Liberia. And I told you I am not an educator, so I couldn't speak much onto that. The only thing that I could say last night, and I said, was that I was I believe I might be one of those liars that took the national exam process, went through the national exam process. Now we have Sissy, who is also an educator himself, and has been in the education business for a very long time.
What exactly was it last night you said that that was very much troubling as far as you're concerned with respect to WIAC?
Okay, before I address your question, I just want to go back. I just want to backtrack a little bit on the issue of the capital punishment.
Yeah, but make it brief on that one.
No. I said before I address that question.
Yeah, I understand, but make it brief on that, and then we can jump.
Yeah, I'm coming now. This great United States that we have copied, and even all of our system is based on the United States. Okay, we have 27 states that still holding on to capital punishment. Go do your homework. So I don't know why the issue of capital punishment is sort of a big thing when it comes to a presidential candidate. Say, I don't know. We have had a country that have experienced a generation of corrupt officials for almost 176 years. Then you're talking about normal democracy, we change this thing, then we are just joking, seriously joking. Then Cesar said a very good point, the moderator as well. The issue of laws on the book. Every time we refer to this thing, laws on the book, from my own perspective, the laws on the book are morally corrupt. They need to be thoroughly reviewed. All right? People say we got good laws. Oh, we got so many good laws. So many good laws. I don't want to believe that. Good laws will be enforceable. Good laws will be executed. I think we get morally corrupt laws that even need to be reviewed. That's the first thing.
Okay. Let's go on.
Let's get back to the issue of WIAC. I have been doing a whole lot of research when it comes to the issue of WIAC. We have the American school system in Liberia. WIAC originated from the British background. All right. And to be frank with you, I don't know.
Let me ask a clarifying question before you continue, please. What do you mean by we have the American school system in Liberia? What is the system you're referring to?
Oh, the 6334 system that we have in Liberia. We don't have the British system in Liberia.
You said 6334. What is the 6334 system?
Yeah, because as soon as you said that, I thought I was on the top of you.
Kindergarten. From kindergarten to 6th grade. How many years you spend there?
It depends. You can go people do Prima 1, Prima 2, they do pre-K, and also somebody can do special.
Okay.
People spend 3 years there. The 9th grade. Okay, from 6th to 9th grade is 3 years. Okay. All right? People spend another 3 years up to the graduate from high school.
Okay.
All right. No. The graduate from high school. Sorry, I didn't bring I don't have the statistic. I will get it for you before the show ends. Okay. People spend almost 3.5 years to 4 years to graduate from college.
Mileage, let's go back to why.
No, sister asked a question. Oh man.
So if you were in Sierra Leone,
we are having the American system.
Hold on, Mr. Ma, let me ask you. If you were in Sierra Leone, how long does it take a child in Sierra Leone to get from kindergarten to 6th grade?
Well, I have to
get my statistics up. It is the same.
No, it's not the same. No, it's not the same thing. And it's not the same thing.
Okay, I'll take control.
No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Okay, Miles, go ahead. Let's talk about why.
It's not even the same thing in Nigeria.
Miles, give us your idea of WIAC, and then say perhaps can help to respond.
What I'm saying, we I don't know under which government the WIAC thing have become so serious, but the WIAC has gone beyond the brink now. Now it's getting a lot of people back. Now I even realize that to the embassy, when you win your lottery and coming to America, WIAC is now becoming a criteria that you got to present it. Okay. WIAC has even created a whole problem, even when it comes to people registering in Liberia. So my argument here is that the WIAC thing, I don't know who put into it. Okay. But we need we need to come up with our own national system of testing.
So as far as you're concerned, why is a problem for us? Why is a problem for us as far as you're concerned? Okay, I'm not trying to.
I will bring a statistic before we close this show. Yes.
Thank you. Say, I'm not trying to pit you against Malik. That's not the intent. The intent here, he's also an educator, and so are you. I just want, because I want some, with you two having this conversation, to help to educate me. That's my intent here tonight, for me to understand, because Malik is saying that why it's not something, because if he connect that to the British system, and those of us that went to school in Liberia, we believe that the U.S. system, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't know the 6855 something, the number you throw at me, I think I'm on the football field. But from you now, someone who's in this field, who has sacrificed your engineering profession, go into this field, I want you to help me out. Is he on the point here?
Well, he's missing some points and he's making some points. But let me push back first. One sentence on his stats he brought up, 26 U.S. states that state carry all capital punishment.
No. I said
Mr. Malik, Mr. Malik,
Mr.
Malik, we're not going to correct him. Let me go ahead.
The problem here is that you have to understand that there's been a gradual release, walk away. Because if you look at 27 now, all of the states used to have capital punishment. So you're reading the stats the wrong way to fit you. Because it's not like nobody had it and then 27 went to it. Everybody had it and under 27 got it now. And even at the federal level, it gets hotter based on who's in power. When Trump came to office, he started it again. Biden came and halted that. So there are states moving away from capital punishment, not towards capital punishment. So let's read the stats correctly. The second piece about WIAC. WIAC has been in establishment since 1952. Liberia has been a member of WIAC since 1952. The West African Examination Council. Liberia has been part of it since 1952, since that council was founded. Now, we moved away from the kind of testing that is being done.
National exam.
Right. It is the kind of testing that has been done that's moved away from. And my brother, I agree that when you create standardized tests and you try to regionalize standardized tests, you lose a lot of efficacy. You lose a lot of value that you can gain from that. So I get that point, right? But to the extent that when you go to the embassy and you have to show your WIAC certificate, that is because by law in Liberia, in order for you to be recognized as a high school student, you must pass the West African examination. That has been our law for a long time. That's why people took resetter and would take resetter to be recognized as a graduate. In this country, because education is state priority, the various states set the minimum guideline for what you need to do in order to be recognized as a graduate in that state. And most states, like mine, you have local control over education. So the school district will say, well, the state say three math, for example, but in my school district, you got to pass 4 high school math, right? But even at that, if you graduate from Minnesota, you try to apply to a university on the East Coast, they look at Minnesota standards and say, yes, you met Minnesota standards, therefore you are a high school graduate. Now, did you meet the standard we set as a college? If no, then you have to do remediation, right? And so the issue of WIAC exam being used at the embassy to prove that you are a high school graduate got nothing to do with the U.S. Embassy. It's nothing new. It is something set in law in Liberia that sets the criteria for who has met the standard to be called a high school graduate. So we can change. I've always been an advocate for changing the way that this examination is offered, to kind of nationalize it in a little bit. And I've talked about even including stuff like civics in there as a way to test that you are a high school graduate. And we should have Liberian history in there. Yes, it's okay to do regional history. It's okay to do West African history. But of what good is West African history to you if you live in Swakoko and don't even know the importance of Madame Swakoko because you've not learned anything about her? Of what good is West African history to you if you go to Lango Lepe and you do not know who Lango Lepe was?
Okay.
So for me, you would.
I got a caller here. Been on for a while. Sissy, go ahead, and then I'll bring Mr. So let me bring the caller in.
For that piece that when you make a standardized test and you regionalize it, you lose value. And that I agree with him on. And I think there has to be a way to nationalize it, to kind of make sure that our people are taking tests that our system, our country wants to elevate.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to you, Sissy. Let me take this caller. Caller, I believe that would be Evers, right? Caller, are you there? Caller, hello, caller, are you there? Are you getting me? Yeah, okay. I don't know what happened. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And hello to Mr. So, Mr. Goya, and Mr. Jones. No, Mr. Mali, I must agree with you on that on the first point, not about the Wyatt, but on the point about the discipline in the country. Look, we need a firm hand. You know, why you think places like Rwanda and Kigali, they're very clean today? It's not because those people up and woke up and chose to become good citizens. The government implemented a plan, a strict plan, for those who will be, loitering in the city, and they have straight rules and fines against people who will throw things on the ground and dirty the country. The same thing, I have a suggestion. It won't happen, but men who have multiple women and is cheating, and one of the women go catch the other girlfriend and beat that girl, that man himself should be flogged in a public square for being an irresponsible man, putting the life of young women in jeopardy. Seriously. Because we think we're all that. Sometimes when we think we're handsome or we get more money, we tend to jeopardize other women's safety by loving here and there. That nonsense that happened in Uganda, the men that say in that community should catch that guy and beat him for not being man enough to stop another woman from beating that young lady. But Mr. Mali, I think you have a good point. I think people would think we're trying to be authoritarian, or when we.
And what party are you supporting, Ever?
I'm a CDC supporter.
Okay.
I'm a CDC supporter. In America, I'm a liberal Democrat. But for people like Liberians who are high-headed and stubborn.
The liberal Democrat in America, he will not vote for that law to be happening in America.
No, seriously, Mr. In our country, sometimes you gotta beat that bad habit out of with Liberians. The adults, not even just a small children, but the adults themselves. You go to Saudi Arabia, go try that nonsense. They will give you 25 lashes on your bare back in the public square. When you go to the other people's country, you see the street clean. Not overnight. It took training to train a citizen here to make sure that they know not to be dirty.
Okay.
You can be dirty in your own house, but don't be dirty in the public space.
Okay.
So I think we need a reform in our government to give harsher punishment to people who are being lackadaisical about sanitation, people who are being lackadaisical about their personal responsibility when it comes to relationships. We need to stop punishing people. And other people will follow suit. But thank you. I'll leave it at the white situation. I was not hearing you guys because I was on the call, so I don't know where I stand on that situation. But thank you for taking my call. I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Mr. So, you were about to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that has to do with the issue of Wyatt. Like Mr. Jones is saying, is required. I think it is based on case by case. Say, for instance, if you are coming and it's something more or less maybe scholarship related or school something, then the embassy, all of these people, they will have their own set criteria as well, but they're not just going to look at and then other person there and ask. I just thought I made that important.
But let me ask this. I'm asking a serious question because I want to learn. How old you got to be to be able to win a DVD or DV or something like that? How old is that age limit on that?
Yeah, you got to be at least 18. You got to be an adult to enter into a contract. And
18 to what?
It's a minimum 18. There's no maximum.
Oh, so you can be 80-year-old and still win it.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, you could, but the problem is that the reason for the diversity lottery, which is the DV, and I think that's what Mr. Mali was speaking to, is that America is some part of it is a humanitarian, but a huge portion of that is for workforce. They're trying to get people here that can add to the workforce. That's why they're not bringing people that are not yet high school graduate. The intent is you get here, you are ready to enter America's workforce. And so that is the reason they expect you to have a minimum of high school diploma. And that's the reason if you win the lottery, the DV, you will have to show that you are at minimum a high school graduate. Hence the reason they asked for the wire certificate that Mr. Mali was speaking about. But Mr. So is speaking about other form of visa. Like if I have immigrant visa, if I'm sending for my family, my immigrant families, then they don't ask them whether they graduated high school or not, because the intent of coming here to join me has nothing to do with whether they're ready and able to enter the workforce.
So let me go back to you, Mr. So, in as much as he was talking about Councillor Gonglo earlier, he also made a point to say that the current government, the incumbent is somehow doing well or doing better than many of the other opposition. I was just wondering, from your own mindset, what have you been involved in? What have you? Who you think is taking this thing a little bit to the top right now?
I think the Hillary Clinton symptom has hit two political parties in Liberia where they feel entitled. They feel like the crown is going to be theirs. And that is the ruling establishment in the Unity Party. They think that every other politician is an afterthought. And by extent, I'm actually talking about Gonglo and Cummings. But like I said the last time, the breeze that can disgrace the rooster and come from the back. And so there are headways being made by Gonglo and the ANC, while the political, the ruling establishment, I think, is kind of relaxed. I think they think that the opposition is doing their work for them by having this infighting, and so somehow they're just going to come and pick the bones. But sometimes you got to be careful when you chew the bone. Some people not eat and not play before that wild bone is in your throat. So people got to be very, very careful with that. But I wanted to say something, on what happened today with Tiawan Gonglo. People went to the Farmington Hotel and signed paper. And people, all it takes is to lead by example. Just say something to your people. So you lower this war drum, this anxiety amongst our people. Our people can already find food to eat 3 times a day. Then you're raising their blood pressure on all the pending electoral violence and all the other pieces. It's not necessary. And like the councillor said, I can disagree with my brother Mali. I can disagree with Mr. To. I can disagree with Keto and Kambia, but that doesn't mean we're enemies. We are still Liberians and we still love Liberia equally. We just disagree on the way to move Liberia forward. There is no one political party or any Liberian that want Liberia to go backward. No, there's no party that's saying poor in power, we take everything backward with me or go back to wearing slipper in the bush. No, everybody talks about how they are going to move the country forward. We just all fundamentally disagree on the way to move Liberia forward. So when Gonglo did that today, he did that before. He actually went to a CDC area where Molu was, Chairman Molu. He sat down with Molu, and I think Molu didn't pay for the food. They all ate and drank, and he left. And so this is a message we're trying to send. We who are in the Gonglo camp, that Liberia is bigger than all of us. And that after election, Liberia will still be there. We will still be there. And that's why he made it a point to go to CDC headquarters. And he even chanted with them, Muya, 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 CDC, Muya, Muya. It doesn't mean people that say Muya, CDC, Muya, that they hate Liberia. And I can sit here and say Muya, CDC, Muya, and still disagree with a proper agenda. It doesn't mean I don't like my brothers and sisters in the CDC, but it takes a serious leader to set the message for his people. Because after what Gonglo did today, if somebody like me who follows him came on here and started disparaging the president, start calling the president all of his name and being very disrespectful, people say, remember, you're not following your leader. But if my leader is not setting the pace, then anybody can get kind and cause my cause or do all other things and go, because the leader has not set the pace. The leader has to create a container. The followers are fluid and fit they will take the shape of the continuum of the leader. Gonglo said that stage today, and if I were toxic, I would have to reframe the way I deal with issues, because now I'm attaching myself to one Gonglo. I have to be able to take the shape of the continuum that you created today.
So just to add quickly here, and that's exactly what Sisi is talking about. Gonglo has introduced another unknown sort of what should I put it? Unknown system into the political process. He went in there today, knowing full well in order to be received, and he's a smart guy. He deployed the very slogans of seditions, Monya Monya. That is all because what he tried to do that to evoke the seditions that are there in order to give him the attention. So he was respectful to them. He took into consideration their passions of their leader to the support, and that's how these politicians supposed to behave. So what he did there too, he has pushed his supporters against the wall. Look, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. No matter what, without and with the presidency, I will still survive. And I want each, if you support me, you know, they got a saying, they're saying, you like monkey, you got to like the tail. So what he has done, he's also speaking to his supporters, his surrogate, people that are going to be talking to them. As much other people would differ with them, they must also respect them. And their message should be, we're always peaceful. And that's what all of us should be doing. Other people get on the net where, the election will be rigged, the elections try to undercut the validity of the election. It's wrong. We must stop that. I think we won Liberia after election. October 10 is just one single day. After that, will we destroy Liberia because Mr. A, Mr. B now win? Absolutely not. So what Gonglo did today, he raised the bar, and I'm looking forward to see how all of these other political actors, how they're going to respond and how they're going to react, or what would be their message to their supporters as well.
So Mali, Gonglo statement or process or whatever you want to call it today should be emulated by many of the opposition. Agree?
Well, before I can say anything to that, I think I've been one of the strongest critics when it comes to Gongolo from his background and other things. But I think he has provoked me to take my hat off to him, because this is highly unexpected going into politically motivated enemy territory. You see, but here is the message behind Gongolo background. It's like he a little bit close to my democratic radical system, but in a different sense.
He's still going to democratic.
In a sense, here is that, to be frank with you,
hopefully you tell us the democratic radical where you
I will talk about it, Mr. Moderator. But to be very frank with you, up to now, I still can't believe it. I see it like something, a utopia. I'm telling you, I can't just believe it. Like to see, Joy, we are going to ANC camp and tossing glass. I can't just believe it. But to be frank with you, I'm coming. So I take my hat off to him today. But here is the interpretation. I think here is the message I think Gongolo want to carry here. It's like, Omar, according to the municipal law, I put your son in jail today. He throw a piece of paper on Broad Street, and according to our new law now, you go to jail for 3 months. It's like he's sending another one Omar under the Palawa hut, try to educate her not to cry. But the next time when the son come back, she won't be able to talk to her son so that he will not throw trash on the floor again. But I just come to console you. You see, this is where my government comes from. Not that I hate you or I hate my children. These same children, they voted for me. But the trash burning on the street, I don't want to tolerate it. I think this is the message Gongolo is carrying. And I really want to. This is why he just 2 miles away from a democratic radical system.
Okay, 2 miles is still a lot. Let
me ask something yesterday.
Yeah, but before you do that, let me throw this in there quick, and you can wrap both of them together. Should we then say Gonglo when he went to CDC headquarters with a broom. It's the intent. If you look behind the broom, Munya, Munya, City, Munya, but I'm here to sweep.
Yes.
I am here to remind you the broom is to sweep corruption. And everybody all over the world have been accusing CDC-led government as a corrupt government, and I'm here with my broom. Should we read that into that as much, or that's just too much into it?
Well, no.
I'm going to say it. Go ahead. Hold on, Mali. We'll come to you.
Okay.
You will come closer, Mali. Not too much. You will come closer to us.
He gradually closing in.
Oh my. But look, let me put an extra layer on the significance of what Gonglo did today. If you remember, a few weeks ago, about maybe a week and a half now ago, there was a march in Central Monrovia organized by the LPP that ended up with people throwing stones at the councillor and his vice president running mate, disrupting the whole event.
Yeah.
And then there became this claim and counterclaim of and misinformation, disinformation of it was seditions, no, it was soup militants, it was this, it was that. That was an easy space for any lazy leader to say, oh, sedition people won't kill me, so seditions are my enemy, I'm not going to go there. But in spite of that, he understood that even if people who throw the rock, and I'm just saying even if, for the sake of argument, even if those people were seditionists, he is not willing to take a brush and paint a broad stroke of all seditions. That a few disgruntled people who threw rocks because they cannot accept political difference and diversity of thoughts, that they don't represent all of CDC, the 400,000 plus people who identify themselves as sedition and whatever President George Weah. And so I think that's one thing we got to get away from in Liberia, where we tend to paint everybody with a brush stroke. And that was the point the counselor was making. And if you watch his entourage that he talked to CDC headquarters today, that was number 2. He did not go there like a conqueror. He did not go there with so many cars and everybody you can, because when you do that, you evoke a different sense in people you're going to take over. He went there like a guest, respectfully. He went there impromptu and said, oh, the chairman. He said, the chairman, yeah, it's okay. I tell the chairman, I will yell. You think Councillor Gonglo, if he was some other leader, could have said, I call him, I tell the councillor, yeah. Because the councillor understands the relationship he got with
or even says, or he will say, okay, you know, I said, chairman, I'm going back, I will come back. Yeah. He didn't do that.
He didn't do that. He spoke to the people about being political opponents does not mean we are enemies. And so to answer your question about the broom was not just, it's not just to signify that we are going to sweep the ills in society that is happening right now. We are not a joint 1135 administrative movement. We're not talking about Jesus wept and just talking right now. We're talking about what happened before Jesus wept. We're not going to do like other people who said they are going to audit only George Weah administration.
So why you got to bring that one up?
We are going to, but you asked the question, what
yeah, why you bring my old man into the conversation?
I'm talking about it, and he said he put people in trouble. My uncle stay in town, I get in trouble. The broom is to reset us all, to clean house as brothers and sisters, and reset us and get our path set on doing something. And so for me, that broom is not just for CDC. It is not just for what's happening right now. We have to campaign in a way to talk about what happened before Jesus Christ, what happened before we got here. How can we go back and do an audit? And an audit does not necessarily mean that somebody stole money. An audit also can be to test the system and see what in the system failed and how can we make correction to processes in the system. And so that is not just for the CDC. It is also for what has happened before the CDC and how can we continue after the CDC and sweeping and moving forward so that we continue to clean our country gradually and continue to take those proverbial litters off our political streets, to take those litterers off our administrative streets, to put people who are known for littering and pocketing the Liberian people resources outside of government.
Okay.
And
Let me come to you, Mr. So. We just talked about Councillor Gonglo here. Let's move on to another political leader, Ormo Cummings. Ormo Cummings, maybe 4, 5, or 6 months ago, there was a $70,000 issue. Besides that, Ormo Cummings and his people came here to Sacramento, raised huge sums of money. We are yet to know any information about that money. I still have not seen it. And also the $70,000, I'm not too sure if that issue has been resolved. If those kinds of things are happening, what do you think that does with the Cummings image as being Mr. Clean?
Well, and that's a very critical question. And this is the apprehension, people finding it very difficult who he is, what he stands for, what his political ideology is, for people to trust him. Remember, Cummings, the group he hooked up with, when we started with this, let me digress a little bit with this whole CPP framework here. I was one of those frown against it, that it was a divisive. But you say, oh, at the end of the day, we face it, yeah, we are the train derailed. And that's where people are finding it difficult, because his guys that he hang up with, he allowed them to define him. And this is what you don't want to do in politics. Henry Costa was able to, with the Nyombi Kanga, the Benena, and other people, they managed to put something on him to the extent that his folk or his popular relation people were not equipped. They didn't see it, or maybe he felt that, okay, I don't want to fight back. And in politics, you got to learn to fight back, especially when it has to do with your character, because people want to judge you. That's 70 times we'll talk about it here. And Amos Joyce, the strong defender of ANC, and other people say, oh, they turn it to the police. Oh, now you confide, you trust in the police to do their work. We all work in different places of work, and there's some sort of administrative policy in those places. If something happened, if I'm on shift, if something happened at your job, you're on shift, and they can't get the actual doer, there will be, if it's criminal in nature, eventually it will be turned to the police, it will be turned over to the police. But before then, I think Cece is back. But before then, there will be an internal investigation. That internal investigation will either require somebody being placed on administrative leave until that is concluded. How long they has been? They spent over 300 some more thousand to extradite this guy who went to when the Sierra Leone they brought him. Their main point out, Ambassador Brown and other folks, they were at the zenith of this whole thing here, and we saw in the next 2 days they were still sitting by his right hand side. You create apprehension. Wait a minute. What happens if this guy is within your cabinet and something like this happens? What would be your administrative decision? Now we are waiting. So if the police don't come out with any findings, or whether they have come out, what is the findings of the own institution? How will the presidency of Alexander Cummings, if he was president today, like in the case of Guy Jones and other people in the 80s, with that money going missing at the Ministry of Finance, what did the president do? Though you remember when those 18 or 17 experts, the noise are coming, the very first thing they did, administrative actions were put into place. They were removed, even though they carried them, but that helped to neutralize it. We have not seen that. And this is where I think Cummings is still struggling. They are not coming out to really tell her exactly the outcome, who did it, because those people, they are still within his proximity, they are still within here, they are still his confidant. So we don't know what's going on.
I just call Josh and Jonathan to come for you. So
let me go to Malis here. Malis, let's come to you, and we will pick on Ambassador Bakar. July 26th.
Don't forget about Bakar and Prince Johnson about his article.
You would tell me how to ask my question now. That you would tell me I'm trying to put good question to Malis, now you coming to come put all kind of yaman things out.
Okay, sorry.
Malis, let me ask you this. July 26th, one of the most important days in Liberia and in Liberian history. Yet, Ambassador Baka, who is seeking to be the next president of the Republic of Liberia, left Liberia to come to a wedding, family issue. Ambassador Baka and his people were not in Liberia to do the July 26th. He gave his July 26th message here in the United States. Ambassador Baka is seeking to unseat the president of the Republic of Liberia, President Weah. What do you make of that? Is that from your own media and publicity and public gathering or public sentiment and things like that? Was that a good thing? You think that will be beneficial to Ambassador Baka, or is that something perhaps will come back to hurt him?
Yeah, before I address that, there's a little pushback on this $70,000 saga in the ANC. I think on Arizona Kumi, he's being crucified unjustly by the moderator when it comes to the $70 issue.
I am the moderator. Okay,
Mr. Toh. Yeah, Mr. Toh. I think Mr. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Mr. So had just crucified Arizona Kumi unjustly on the $70 issue. This is a politically isolated case. We cannot use it as a bait to run a conclusion. We don't know what Mr. Kumi and his auditing team or his party did to this issue. We don't know whether there were internal investigation. I don't know. I don't know whether they took steps to investigate this thing. I don't know. This is an internal problem. So if we're using it to spray it as a net to cover Liberia and using Mr. Kumi in between there, that he might not be transparent because he didn't handle the thing properly, I think we'll be crucifying him unjustly.
But let me push back on this.
So, hold on,
Malik. No, hold on. Let me push back on this. You're saying that it is a politically isolated issue. Honorable Kumi is seeking to be president of the Republic of Liberia. And if he's not able to resolve issues that affect money publicly, if he's not able to, what Liberians are quite aware of, if he's not able to resolve it and bring it back to, and not just bring it to the people, but to let the, how is that going to not affect his running of the country? And I think that's the overall position Mr. So is taking. Won't you see it from that perspective?
Thank you, Mr. Toh. Then I beg the question to challenge you to show me whether Mr. Kumi was politically unable to solve this problem. I don't know. So maybe you need to prove to me. No. Maybe you need to prove to me that Kumi was able to solve. Kumi was unable to solve this $70 scammer in his pocket.
I thought whether Carter was out tonight, but I
don't know. Okay. Maybe you can educate me.
But Mr. Mali, that is a false expectation. How can I prove? Hold on. How can somebody prove to you what didn't happen? How can I prove that I'm not a criminal? How? What Mr. So said is that there has been no public release of findings. And you are saying that how do we know that it didn't happen internally? And what Mr. So is saying that it should not be internal because this was a public issue. They brought it out to the public. They lay out in public. When they went for this guy who was alleged to have stolen the money, they were going live. They carried a party vehicle to the border with Sierra Leone to bring this guy back. So how can you do part of that thing public, but when you do another thing, it stays private? That is the point Mr. So is making.
My question to you now is he under obligation to respond to the people of Liberia? On this his internal affairs? Is it under political obligation to prove to us?
So
okay, talk now. Come in, Mr. So.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt Jones.
Okay. My question to Sissy and the rest of you here is that $70 went missing in this.
70,000.
70,000. Now we are saying
if Kumi was not able to do his own investigation and come to the public with his finding, therefore, how can he be transparent when he become president? I differ from that.
Okay, but
Is
so
he,
yeah,
is,
I thought you were
is
asking
he
a
under,
question.
no. Is he
I thought you
under
were asking a question.
obligation? Is he under obligation to come to the public
Let
with
me,
his
let me
finding?
answer that. Let me answer that question.
Yeah.
Liberia election laws, guidelines, last time we were reading it here, they will have to make a campaign finance report as a party
full
to
disclosure.
election commission on all of the money they collected and how it was used. They have to make that report. This money was a part of a campaign collection. It was not his personal money. Therefore, he will have to make a report on what happened to that money. So absolutely, he's on a moral obligation to make that report to the public.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Akami, Mr. So. Thank you, Mr. Sisi. Then my next question now here is that.
But wait a minute,
no.
But
wait a minute now. The major raise a very sensitive issue here. All right, let me address myself to it. My question to Mr. Sisi now is, what stand has the election commission taken to prosecute this man for violating that rule? What stand?
Again, I have not told you that he has violated the rules yet. I said they will have to make a report. There is a requirement to make a report to election commission after elections about funds collected and how they were expended. And this is a part of those funds that were collected.
Apparently,
do you know whether they have made a report or not?
Hold on, Mali.
Apparently, we can't be going around. They think you need to let you whiplash.
No.
You're asking questions, Mr. Mali.
Hold on, Mali.
$70,000, it is not government revenue money.
Mali,
it's not revenue from the Republic of Liberia.
Okay.
It's an internal affair money.
Okay, Mali,
so why are we dragging the guy last to the fire?
Mali, we're running a show. When I say hold on, I'm running a show. When I say hold on, I mean hold on. I don't want to pack you, but for you, I'm not even packing you in the garage. I'm packing you in New Jersey. So I don't want to do that.
You're trying someone unjustly.
Okay, but Mali, just hold on. Apparently, you are unable to answer the question of Ambassador Bakai, the next president of the Republic of Liberia. Therefore, Mr. No, we're not touching it already. It's gone. It's gone.
Let it go. It will come by another day.
Another day. Not tonight. That means you ain't able to address Ambassador Bakai issue. Good.
That's a question. In fact, a Bakai issue is personal.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, let's forget it. Let me go to Mr. So. Mr. So, the few minutes we have here on a very serious note. What are your expectations, seriously, of this upcoming election as a Liberian and also a professional newsman?
So, I think let me hit Malik Jones. On this network, we always prove accountability, physical and financial accountability. All of these things have some greater impact into our daily lives. If I can manage my own thing, can I manage you? Can I manage this network? Absolutely not. We are not accusing him. We are not saying, but we are having these concerns, and it's a legitimate concern. And like Sister said, it's not his personal money. That was the soundbite. They came with our own thing. And then when people start pushing by, they say, oh, that's not your business. If we are holding every other person accountable who is seeking the higher office of the land, you got to illustrate, you have to demonstrate some physical responsibility as a leader, that even if one of your own who is strongly campaigning for you and is part of your government, and they are to violate the laws, you can also turn them over to law enforcer. There are two components in that. The civil aspect is there and the criminal aspect there. The criminal one will come from the police after they have conducted all of their investigation. But we're not going to waste time to that. Let me just go. What my expectation is, I want free and fair elections to be held. And that's what all civilized society call for. People should start preaching, start talking about election will be rigged. Election will be rigged. You just unvalidate the results of these elections when it comes. not because one have the apprehension it will not go their way, or they want it at all costs, even if they were unable to canvass, to reach, to knock doors, to convince the electorate, and it doesn't go their way, then the election is not fair. I don't want that. And that was one of the reasons I really admire and draws me closer to Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, because what he did today was extraordinary. So if we're to even flip the coin, can he, Alice Coming, President Dr. Weah, Joseph Boyka, can any of them do that? And even if they did, what could have been the conversation here today? So Gonglo, what Gonglo did today was he has pushed these people on edge, holding them accountable. In as much you have thousands and hundreds of your supporters, your message should be, it's all about Liberia. If I win it, except let's celebrate. If I lose it, there are two things involved in the race. You either win it or you lose it. And that's the mindset they need to get. If you want to win it, you have to work extra mile. But what he did today is a clear indication that this guy, if he becomes president of the Republic of Liberia, somebody who called him names, somebody who went against him bitterly, he still have that administrative skill and that negotiation type to bring them on board and put. But where we see what is going on within the Unity Party and the ANC is ridiculous. It is absurd. I don't understand. I don't understand. So right now, all of these people here, President Weah can easily bring in, can go to a Gonglo and smoke a peace pipe. ANC can go to Gonglo and smoke a peace pipe. Can Unity Party able to smoke peace pipe with ANC and with all of what is going? So Gonglo has neutralized, he has created a scenario as saying where anybody can work with him, or he can call anybody at a sitting table to put Liberia and to have a better Liberia. I think he is perfectly suited to do that. From what he demonstrate today, and Sister said, he didn't go there as a conqueror. He didn't go there as a King Kong. He didn't go there as a giant. He was very submissive. He was very respectful. He used their own word to glorify their political leaders there. Munya Munya, he used that. That is to evoke their imagination, to capture their attention. So whatever he has to say, he will say, and he managed to really pull that today. And that's something we must applaud.
Thank you. Sister, same line of question, but I'll frame it a little bit differently. And that is, you, I call you Minnesota politician, and truthfully, you've been in the politics affair of Minnesota for a very while, and you're a student of politics as well. But let me ask you this. Besides what Councillor Gonglo did today, from the selection process of all of these people, vice presidential candidates and everything else, and all of the children that is going around the upcoming election, is there any hope for us that this upcoming election is indeed will be peaceful, and that whatever result that comes out would be accepted? From our indication,
I am an eternal optimist, and so sometimes my brother Mali and myself can go. I say, I still got hope. I believe the elections in October are consequential, very, very consequential. They will determine the speed at which Liberia changes for the better. I do not believe, and I'm going to be on a record, I do not believe that the CDC and President George Weah go to bed thinking and trying to find ways on how to take Liberia backwards. I think they all believe that Liberia should move forward. I just believe that they're not utilizing the talent pool that Liberia has to accelerate their movement forward. I have the same belief about Mr. Cummins and his ANC, that they dream of a better Liberia for all of our people in Liberia. I don't know if they have the catalyst required to expedite the speed that we need. And same thing for the former Vice President Joseph Boyka and the Unity Party. I happen to believe that Tiawan Gonglo and his team have that extra that you need to move that extra forward. You know, there is something for those of us who are science students. Water boils at 212 degrees. I gave a whole graduation speech on that, so I'll give you the short version of that. Water boils at 212 degrees. Anything less than 212 degrees, water just hot. At 211.9 degrees, water just hot, and not boiling. So all of these political parties will boil like raw water. What is that extra degree it needs to, they will make like raw water hot. What is that extra degree it needs to boil like raw water is the kind of politics that Tier 1 is bringing. That extra 1 degree that it takes to get us from just being hot to boiling. So that is why he goes to places that other politicians have not been before. That is why we're bringing in new voters, people who have been abandoned, who themselves have taken themselves out of politics because they feel like the system has not worked for them, and they've always called it the people thing. We're trying to get them to understand that it is your thing. You are the people, so that we bring in more voters and we get more people at the table. So we get more voices and we get a diversity of opinion, and the government will work well for our people. So for me, I am an eternal optimist. Liberia will still be peaceful on October 11. We are not going to go to war. We are not going to kill our brothers and sisters again. No more will that happen in Liberia again. If George Weah and the CDC wins, I will be here on the 11th, congratulating them and pledging my support, my brains, and my talent to my country. If Joseph Boakai wins, I will be here doing the same thing. If Alexander Cummings wins, I will be here doing the same thing. And when Tier 1 Gonglo wins, I will be here doing the same thing. My loyalty is not to Tier 1 Gonglo. My intellect, the blessings that God has given me, that my ancestors toiled so much for in the villages, in the bushes, didn't go to school, for me to get here and get to where I'm at, is not beholden to an individual. It is beholden to my motherland. And whomever my Liberian people decide to elect on October 10th, on the 11th, I'll be here telling you whatever you need from me, I, Sisi Goya, will be available to do that. And
let's go to Malice. Malice, a little bit twist. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We need to lower the vitriol in our country. We need to lower the acidity of our conversations with our brothers and sisters. And that is what Tier 1 did today. So for me, I'm looking at maybe 4 reverends to try to do the same thing. I'm looking at the Reverend Prince Johnson, the Reverend George Weah, the Reverend Morba Malu, and the Reverend Luther Tappet to all do the honorable thing, because these are preachers. Morba Malu was a preacher before. And the Unity Party leader right now, the chairman, is a preacher. Senator Prince Johnson is a preacher. President George Weah is a preacher. We are a religious people in Liberia. I think we all have to call on our flocks, whether they are political or spiritual flocks, to lower the acidity in our conversations with our brothers and sisters. I can disagree with your politics. I don't have to demonize you.
Mother, let's put a little bit of twist onto that. Same question, but with the involvement of the election commissioners, people who are in charge of making sure regulating the electoral process itself. Are there people that Liberians can then pin their hopes and aspirations on to say for sure that these people, their involvement will bring peace and stability in this upcoming election?
Well, the election commissioners are Liberians. They are one of us, despite just what Sister just said. People are going around saying that if George Weah win, it will be a death trap for the next 6 years. My expectation fall in line with what Mr. So and Sisi said. We should all accept the result as it's come. If George Weah loses the election, he should talk to his people to accept it in good faith. And the issue of the election commissioners, I expect them to be very professional. Even though they are the mindset that the incumbent have got his wings over these people because they are his employees, and he decide time and when to pay them. and therefore their loyalty is to him. You see, this is a mindset in politics when it comes to the election commissioner. But I think my expectation now is for us to disabuse our mind. Our brothers are holding the kind of concept. Let them disabuse their mind and get the benefit of the doubt to the election commissioners, so that whatsoever result they come up with, we should accept that result in good faith. But then someone will tell me again that, why, if they are the broad daylight cheating, we should just accept it? Yes, we should just accept it. Okay. We should accept it in good faith and go to the court peacefully. Even a job where will be inaugurated, we stay in court. We should not encourage our boys to go into the butchers. Let's go in the court. If it means we'll send out to the court for the next 500 days, it is about Mama Liberia. It's not about Georgia. So that is my own expectation. Let's give the people the benefit of the doubt and disabuse our mind that they are there to cheat for Georgia and they want for him to win and they will do everything. I'm not thinking that way.
Okay. All right. Just an observation, Malice. You don't have to respond today. I think the statement you just made about the court just is a pure indication that all of us Liberians, we want this country to move forward. Yeah. But we are conflicted, to be honest with you. A few minutes ago, you said the court you wanted to replace almost 80% of the.
Will you trust the decision of the court?
But now this is
no.
Mr. Mali, you don't have to respond to
that. We are talking from different perspectives.
Okay,
Mr. Mali will bring firing squad to the court.
I just told you, if I'm leader, I'm in the driver's seat.
Mr. Mali say anybody cheat during election, we can better put a firing squad.
So it just to show. But Sese, give us your closing here as we're about to close this week. Sese, give us your closing, and then we'll go back to Mali and Mr. So will close the part.
I was going to say I was wrong with Mr. Mali on 2029 ticket, but now Democratic radical. Because my own say Haley but no, on a serious note, we have to remember, even on this network, and that's one of the reasons when I'm very busy, I don't show up on the network. I still watch. I will plug my earphone in and whatever I'm doing, because I think we're doing something different on this network. And that is the reason I'm drawn to this network. I have a lot of other networks have called to be there, and I'm drawn here. It's the same reason I'm drawn to the Gonglo movement. It's just different. Mr. Mali and I, we don't have to call each other out of our names just because we disagree with each other. We will push back. And we will laugh at the end of the day because he's my brother. Mr. So, Mr. To, Jonathan, when he was here, Wilton would laugh. My man started sending me the text message. We joke about it because Liberia is way bigger than all of us. And I'm hoping that our people in Liberia, I cannot vote. To my people in Liberia, you are going to vote for me. I cannot even protest in the streets. You will do the protesting for me. But it is incumbent upon me to give you the information you need so that when you do vote, you can walk away holding your heads high, knowing that the person you cast your vote for, whether it's Tewan Gonglo or George Weah or Alexander B. Cummings or Tewan or Joseph Yaman Boakai or Harp or Moneyba, that you will say, yes, I did that because I know I did a calculation. Don't let nobody use you. Don't let other people beat their pepper in your mouth. Our politicians, sadly, have had a history of beating their pepper in the mouth of the masses. Don't allow yourselves to be there this time. When you wake up on October 11th, Liberia will still be there. Nobody fighting war in our country. Let us just vote for one of our own. Everybody who's running is a Liberian. We all just disagree on the speed at which everybody thinks we should move Liberia forward. That is the difference. And that is my closing argument. It is always nice to be with you, my brothers.
Thank you. Thank you. Mali, go ahead.
Yeah, my closing argument, you see, this is where I always like to set a fun dinner table for analyst like Sisi. Sisi is in a political camp, but he not vindictive to say that if Congo doesn't win, no Liberia. And I must congratulate him for that. And this is where this platform make the difference.
Where the kumbaya coming from here tonight?
Okay, but here my closing argument. You see, I keep saying WIAC is unfair. You go in Ghana, people have libraries. These students go with peace of mind to sit in the library to do research. We don't have it. They have computers. We don't have it. They even have study rooms. They don't have it. Okay, we don't have it. Even the teachers are qualified to guard these students to prepare for WIAC. We haven't reached to that standard, but we are judged accordingly when the WIAC result comes. How do you expect us to pass this thing? How? It is sad. Even my daughter got to do her homework on the cell phone. In fact, most of the students in Liberia now, they're having cell phone, doing research. How can you expect these students to do well in the kind of thing when they play fee, when the fee is not in that level, not at all? The Ghanaian students are up there. The Nigerian students are up there. The Gambian students are up there. The Sierra Leonean students are up there. You doing your research on phone to go take WIAC. Then you say we on the same playing field. WIAC has to be reviewed strongly. And I will get additional backing for that. But back to what Mr. Toh just said. Oh, you said you are this. Yes, I was speaking in a very different capacity, where I'm in the driver's seat. The democratic radical system has to work in here with a systemic corrupt system in Liberia.
Jesus. Okay.
You be careful for a long time. You're not getting out of seat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or I get a party that is prepared to buy into my philosophy, then we'll move together.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Mr. So, before that, Mr. So, one question. How do I on this platform here, if somebody is speaking, I want that person, we get 4 of us here, and I want that person to do that. Which one of the buttons I need to push? Don't come bluff me. Just asking you a simple question.
So
okay, what I'm going to do. Forget it. I know you're coming to bluff me now. Forget it.
What I'm going to do.
You're coming to push your button.
You work in a reputable institution. If you're not, I want to send a citation for retraining, so you take the B train for more. Look, yeah, you need more training. But my question here. I am concerned with what is happening in Liberia, and every other Liberian should be concerned. And this is why we are having this conversation. We don't bring our personal feelings, our emotions, sentiments based on, listeners or viewers' reactions, and we are not worried as to whether the label or as oppositions, ruling establishments, or whatever name. The subliminal messages has been saturated within the news cycle, and that's something we do not really have control over. But it's dangerous, and this is why LPR should come and bridge this gap. People preaching government will rig election. The election will be this way. The election will be this way. That's not what we should be having conversation about. We must be having a conversation about elections of integrity. We must be asking, querying out those people that are supporting them. Are they communicating with us effectively? Jones was talking about, my daughter, you know how much I spent to transfer credit on the phone to do this? It's not today's issue. So the question now becomes, all of these candidates that are flying around here, what is their own education agenda? How much are they willing to invest into education for what, and not just only education? So say, yeah, he's a teacher, he's a professor, but quality education. How many of them today on day one, if they are elected, what is the plan do they have to put forward that will elevate the educational systems of the country? Or are they waiting when they get there? Are they having that conversation now? But when they go to rally, they take time, 2 hours of their time, to talk about other people instead of then telling exactly why are they looking for this job. But guess what? People has adopted this or putting into place a contingency play of the blame game. They will cheat us. They will cheat us. Why are you doing and why they are not smart? Because communication, there are so many ways people communicate to people. Because when you're telling somebody that you support, if I'm supporting George, we are here. If I'm supporting Joseph Boyka, and I start telling supporters they will cheat, they will cheat. You know what am I telling them? I'm telling my people to stay. They will not, they shouldn't go, because whatever I'm telling them, whatever they go, I've already decided, I've already cut the deal for them. So we need to stop that. We'll continue to have this sort of conversation. We want fair and transparent elections. There's a better days ahead. We're now going to give out. And talking about election commission, I think there's a rule of engagement. This is time for them to, if they feel there's anything that is ongoing, which is unusual, which is not part of the process, or that resembles or have some sort of foul play, it is time now to have a conversation. And this is why insult, abusing people, names calling, it doesn't help anything, because you're not gonna be sitting on my shoulder and then you're cussing me. I will throw you in deep sea. So we do these things and they do it unknowingly to close the gap of having national conversation. But I hope the action by Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo, all of those people who feel entitlement to think to state power, hopefully they will learn a lesson from that. And this is no exception to you, the liberal as well. You're one of those on this network who tone is, and I know Mali knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Since
yes,
you come here, you started here yesterday. People say without you even calling to validate what
they're ganging up on you now, the liberal.
So you two, you know, exempt from this year. You need to stop that. One day you blow, another day you bite.
But the men got to get after action report. Since they met in Minnesota, they only raise money. Mr. Mali, they met talking about ANC, but he basically ain't get report here from Minnesota.
You're not talking. No, I'm talking about Minnesota. I'm talking about Minnesota.
Guys, on a serious
note, your business.
On a serious note, gentlemen, I am concerned with Senator Prince Johnson.
Okay, I think the show is over.
1 second, please. Okay, exercise. Seriously. What I'm hearing, if it is true, those words coming from Prince Johnson, I am concerned that Senator Prince Johnson, as usual, he's been very unpredictable. I see at the end of this year, most likely, Senator Prince Johnson will go back home to endorse the CDC. I am concerned with his behavior or what he's doing now with Ambassador. He should keep his eye open. You guys should better watch out.
Thank you. Okay, folks.
Most people will still leave. They will go back home. The former defense minister going back to from 11 ANC, going back home to CDC. A lot of people will keep moving because this thing is about, it's not about loyalty.
Who the former defense minister?
Daniel Chair.
Oh,
Daniel Chair going back to CDC.
Oh, he just had a pilgrimage.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. Well, next time when we meet, I hope that we will start going into those who most likely, hopefully, that will be called to get involved into the electoral process, the judiciary system. We will try to engage that and see what are some of the pitfalls that perhaps we need to watch out for. But thank you, guys.
Mr. To, on a serious note, will you accept the result when Joseph Boakai loses this election?
I swear. I said, I don't
have. Who cares? Samson to know result.
I don't have a guess. I don't have a
Samson,
guess.
You see, Samson told he brought a medicine. He refusing to drink it.
Mr. Mali, leave my paper alone. Mr. Mali, I don't have a guess this weekend yet. for my show, and I don't want us to keep starting something and not continuing it. If I don't have a guest, are you willing to come on for us to delve into Liberia educational crisis and talk about your wife and
that would
everything?
be
Yes.
fire on fire. That would be a good show. That would be a very wonderful show.
All right.
I will be a guest because that wire thing is really sitting on my chest.
Okay.
The radical educational system we have.
That is when I empower.
Okay. All right, folks. Thank you, guys. Right. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you, Mr. So. Good night. Bye-bye. Thank you. Okay, folks. Again, Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. We do these things here daily, of course. Mr. So will be on tomorrow, and we're all going to be on there. I want to thank all of you that called in tonight, that didn't call in but was listening and texting and on the website. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. We do these things here not to create enemies, but we do these things to educate ourselves in as much as providing information for you as well. And so all these smart analysts that we have on here, that's why I make this network a little bit different than many other networks, because we try to bring in information that perhaps you would like to listen to. With that said, I would say thank you very much and good night to all of you. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio.
Nalukiona kati ya Kinshasa bobi mama